Hey there you lot, welcome back to Fat Glenn's Fish. Time for another update. I'm a bit hit and miss on pumping them out on Sunday nights these days, but that's what you get when you're on holidays. I'll show you on the other side what I've been up to. See you soon. Yeah, I'm halfway down my 4 weeks of leave at the moment, and it's been nice to kind of cool the jets a bit on life. I've done some work for my wife in the garden, and I've done some housework, and I've made sure I've watched a fair few games of basketball. I'm enjoying watching the Nuggets over in the NBA, and I've been out here banging away here and there on some maintenance, and I'm desperately trying to get this fish room tour completed over the next 2 weeks. It's been something that's been on the agenda for about 3 years, and I really want to get one out before the end of 2025. So I'll be doing some more filming after this short catch up, and part of what I'm aiming to do today is film these first couple of racks. But this week, 2 days ago, we did a complete overhaul on this end rack here, which is looking pretty magnificent. Just nice to see clean glass and good fresh water and frisky fish. We're still getting some cold front sort of activity down here in Tassie, so we've had some breeding, and just lots of colour and motion. What we're looking at up top is my Venustus colony, and I've now moved as of a fortnight ago. I think I mentioned that I discovered that I had Pseudotropheus cyaneus that I thought I'd lost, so I've now rejigged, and that's the pairing we've gone with up top, with the big old Venustus, which are well robust enough to handle the cyaneus, which can be super feisty. And now we've got the dozen or so cyaneus in there, plenty of pipes for the females to hide in, and we'll see if that triggers some breeding activity. I did, when I pulled that tank apart, I did strip a Venustus, so I've got some baby Venustus coming through, and I did strip one of the Trophiops cholumbas that were in there, but unfortunately when I say strip, she spat eggs in the net that were probably too young to take, and they didn't tumble too well, unfortunately. So anyway, we've moved them around the side with a different pairing, and we'll see that they settle back in, and hopefully that will get that species running for me. The big tank underneath is still grow out. These are fish that are I'm hoping we'll be sending a big chunk of these over to Melbourne sometime soon. These are the yellows we're working with, Maddie, if you want to have a look. Got about 90 or 100 yellows in there. We've got some hongy, we've got some blue otter males. I think that's the guts of what's in that tank at the moment, but it's certainly looking great, and the fish just do grow well in these couple of big tanks near the door. Down the bottom we've got some strawberry peacocks, not wowing me unfortunately, but hopefully once again a wholesaler might jump on these and take them off my hands. And we've got a few stray little tetrastigmas in there, I think, and maybe a couple of rusties on the bottom. I would like to probably pile some more fish into this tank. I'm finding that if I dump a couple of 100 fish in, power the food in with the good filtration, lots of salts, they certainly seem to be growing fast and straight, which is what we want as a breeder. And the other tank on the end row here, we we tidied up my Red Empress. This is the Namalengi Island variant. Nice boy down the left here, looking like he's on the job actually. I haven't fed yet this morning, so maybe they're just cranky for that. And my electric yellow colony, and there are a couple of stray fish which are just in here for grow out purposes. I've got some Nevochromis chrysogaster. I've only got 3 or 4 of these left in the building, but I'm hoping that I'll get both genders out of that and we can maybe breed a few more of those. So there's one there with the blotch on it. And when I pulled this apart the other day, we produced 4 mouthfuls out of the Red Empress, so I'm hoping I've got up near 100 little Empress coming through, and we got a couple of yellows as well. Big job I did last week was to tidy up the Frontosa colony. Full big water change, obviously. These things make a lot of mess, so it's always a tank that looks below average, probably 85% of the time, and it's just nice to see it freshened up. I think we've got a female Fronty holding up here as a result of the water change, so that's nice. And what I've done is I've moved my Nasuta capillis, that beautiful yellow fish that just went around the back. I've got 4 or 5 of these in here. Well, I've got 5 in here. I think I might only have 2 females. And so I've thrown in some unidentified peacock females, fish where I've, missed pulling the last fish out of a tank when I've pulled it apart and rediscovered a brown fish a month later, and basically they're no good to me in terms of resell or anything. I can't identify them, and I do like to maintain what my peacocks are, but they can serve a purpose here as a secondary sort of dithering fish. Being females, they're not super aggressive, and they allow these Nasuta to just kind of school up with something else. I've still got a little stray Exocochromis anagenes there, which is a fish I've got to track some more of down because I do love the fish. And I sourced this week some yellowfin mulatto, which are the smallest little hap going there. So that's our latest collaboration, just to hopefully get the Frontosas breeding along for us. I just had to break in there, guys. When I went into review on my filming just now, the camera shut itself sort of midstream, so a lot of me talking and filming the top of my forehead, which wasn't the best look. So I've gone and grabbed another camera. Done this tank today, the tomato hap, beautiful Victorian cichlid males there, flexing after some fresh water and massive disturbance, and I produced a good number of those. I've probably got 100 or so to show you in a tick. I've just dropped in a sorry, that's caught my attention. That's an Elongatus mapanga male there in the centre of shot. They're a beautiful quality line of Mabuna that I've had for a number of years now, and I can't seem to get them firing in terms of really pumping out good numbers, but I did manage to strip a female today and get another 10 or 12, so they're hanging on. And I did this job after I found out about my filming failing, so what I've done is I've moved in a pair of Placidochromis electra based on the fact that I moved since this morning I've moved my Barracuda. I've had Malawi barracuda in that tank for a long time, and they've always been hard to film when I've tried to film for you, but they are now sitting up with the Fronnies, kind of working out their demographic in the tank. They seem to like it down this end, furthest away from the little internal filter. I've got 5 fish. Hopefully it's 4 girls and a boy, maybe 3 and 2, but definitely want to get them producing, because I think I've missed a number of mouthfuls over the journey with them down here where they're hard to see. This is what I was referring to at the start. The Cyaneus were in here last time I showed you. I've now moved the Trophiops down here, so we've got some lovely young fish here that are already. It's looking a lot more peaceful, this mix. This is my Trophiops cholumbas and Tiger Nicandas and some Christmas Fulu, and they're all looking a fair bit more content with their lot. I've done some work on this tank today. This is my yellowtail ACI colony. I've got about 20 odd fish in there, which I breed because they're a staple of the hobby, and like I mentioned with the yellows, they're a fish that most shops will gravitate towards because they're not too expensive and they're pretty as juveniles and beyond. And I've had some rainbow cichlids of all things in here for quite a while, and I finally got rid of them. I don't think the tank was breeding as well as it could. Plus I'm a bit excited because my Stevani Easterns have finally started to show some colour, so I've done I sort of balanced the colony. I think I've pulled out excess males, and hopefully we'll see them fire up in the next week or so. I did manage to pull a nice little amount of ACI babies there. It was only two big ACI holding, but they've looked to have had 40 or 50 each, which is pretty nice. I've just finished doing this tank, so it doesn't look very pleasant at all because it's a hard one for me to wash through. This tank being on the bottom shelf, there's not much gravity to work with, so that the drainage is slow when I'm trying to clean. Normally I would wash it up a bit better. Didn't find any fish breeding in here. Wasn't really expecting to. I just moved those Electra that I mentioned a minute ago, and we'll dump some more salts in here shortly and get these Trophaeus happy and resettled. These are the Mapanga and tomato hap from the tank just now, so there's probably 120 odd little fishies in there. Happy days. And around the back here, my tumbler smashing away. That's the Electric Yellows and Red Empress haul from earlier in the week. One other job I did, we've moved our blue orchid peacock. This fish is amazing, and I desperately want to get him to breed. I've got certainly 2, maybe 3 females of his own size, and then there's a big old girl up there somewhere that's probably past her breeding, but at least she's in the mix. And they don't seem to be as big a peacock as some of the others, so he's looking magnificent up there in his new home, and those little baby Electric Yellows just to keep him frisky, so hopefully something will happen here soon. Alright folks, I'm done. I need a glass of vino and to finish this video off and to settle in for the evening. So I'll see you soon. See you next week. Bye.